Ridiculous questions.
Meticulously debated.
This is Tell Me I'm Wrong.
Well, I was happy just last night. I've been losing sight. Citing all the falling fights. What is this if this ain't right? Back again, the monster rights. Losing life until that night. Life never let him lie. Light is my fire passes way.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tell Me I'm Wrong. I'm Joe.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Ryan.
Guys, the time for overeating and never-ending leftovers is upon us. It's officially Thanksgiving season.
Oh, praise Jesus.
It is Big Boy Super Bowl.
Big Boy Super Bowl. And for all you people who've already put up your Christmas tree, that's okay. No judgment here. You can celebrate both. People act like you can't do both.
I put up my Christmas tree. It's 2020. This year has been absolutely shitty. There are no rules anymore. Just chase your bliss.
My wife always says, give the turkeys a chance. And I say, fine, go ahead and decorate for Thanksgiving. And she just looks at me and I say, my point exactly.
See, I'm so glad that we're all on the same page on this podcast because I do feel like it's a pretty hot button issue among thousands of hot button issues, especially this year. But I used to be one of those people that leaned more towards, let Christmas just be in December. But since I have been with my current wife, Leah, I have become much more inclined to put everything up in November. Honestly, even if you just look at it a practicality standpoint, I like to have the decorations up for longer than like 3 weeks because it's a lot of effort. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Doing it early gives you the opportunity to space it out. You can do it over a couple weekends, get it set up. It's not a rush. Then secondly, people say, oh, well, if you set up for Christmas too early, you can't enjoy Thanksgiving. No, I'm going to enjoy Thanksgiving more because if I'm just waiting till Thanksgiving to do all this holiday cheer, I'm just going to be looking past it the whole time. Now I've got my tree up. I'm ready to go. I'm not worried about it. When Thanksgiving comes, I will give it its due. I will celebrate it. And then we will turn our eye back to Christmas. It's not a competition. Turkeys are birds. Trees are trees. They're entirely different things. They're not competitors. We can all get along and celebrate the way that we want to.
Well, and here's really the final thing that convinced me that all of this is arbitrary anyway. Most of the world doesn't have Thanksgiving as a marker to like designate when you should start Christmas. So like all of Europe, they're already celebrating the Christmas season because they don't have that Thanksgiving marker to segregate the two things out. So we just need to be enlightened.
The Europeans get a lot of things right other than the metric system, and I really think we should just follow suit with celebrating Christmas longer. I think that's a good idea personally.
Was that a shot fired at the metric system?
That was. With this, I am starting my metric system beef here today. Now, look.
Hold on. I got a question. We talked about decorating for Christmas. Y'all ever noticed in movies they decorate on Christmas Eve?
I have discussed this with people before. How much sense does
that make? I'm going to do all this work for 12 hours?
Well, and if we're talking about Christmas Story, don't they go and like get the tree and it's like the week of Christmas?
Yeah, it's like right before it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Who does that? That's a monster.
What's the point?
Setting up on Christmas Eve would be an incredible nightmare because I would assume that if you are just now setting up to decorate, you also haven't wrapped any gifts. Maybe you've done enough shopping, I hope, but in that movie I'm pretty sure they go shopping like right before Christmas.
It seems like they do only celebrate with just the four of them. So there's not a ton of gifts they have to buy as opposed to like me in my family, we have to go to 14 Christmases and it's miserable.
14?
14 maybe an exaggeration.
Maybe.
I think we go to 3 different ones. And then I'll take that back. 5.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of Christmas.
Because we do like our immediate family is one, Rachel's immediate family is one, my family's Christmas, Rachel's family's Christmas, and then my dad's family's Christmas. None of them really want to even be there, but we do it anyways.
It's the obligation of family.
Well, it's just like as soon as you get there, everybody's like, all right, well, when can we leave?
Well, 2020 is a great year to break tradition. So maybe this is the year y'all finally decide, you know what? We're going to keep social distancing.
Well, I don't think we're doing Christmas except for immediate family, so it's not going to matter.
All right. Well, this is not a Christmas episode.
No,
this
it's
is
Thanksgiving.
a Thanksgiving episode. So, Joe, why don't you lead us into what we're talking about today?
So we decided that we would do another draft, surprise, surprise, and we are going to draft the best Thanksgiving plate. We will each get 5 picks. That could be meat, vegetables, rolls, salads, whatever you want to do. I guess you could do a cocktail if you wanted to. And then after, we're at moderator's office, we're going to do a dessert. And then we have some special guest to judge who did the best plate. And we'll explain a little bit more about that later. But I think before we start, what is some of y'all's favorite things on Thanksgiving Day?
Well, I have to say, for a long time, Leah and I have been making part of Thanksgiving. Like Leah's a very good cook and a good baker. So, I mean, if we're just being straight up, my favorite part is the dessert because Leah's really good at making a lot of different pies and cakes and stuff like that. But outside of dessert, I always have a number one pick, and that is sweet potato casserole. And
You're tipping your hand.
I am.
I wasn't even talking about food. I was just talking about things you like to do on Thanksgiving Day.
No, well, it's all about the food then.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
I was going to say, what's the point of Thanksgiving if you're not stuffing yourself?
We could say, oh, well, I love the sentimental time with my family. I love going around the table and saying what I'm thankful for. I love football. I love parades. No. We know what this is about.
Well, I think our listeners would assume that if we're having a draft about our favorite Thanksgiving foods, it's a fair assumption to make that we enjoy food. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm a big boy. I think Josh will be okay with me saying he's a big boy. We like to eat. I've seen Ryan put some food back, so I know that. Like when I think of Thanksgiving, I think of my in-laws. Rachel's dad is really big into playing pool. And that's like all we do on Thanksgiving Day after lunch. And then Christmas Day after lunch, we just go downstairs and play pool and hang out and talk a bunch of trash. And it's a lot of fun. I also like to watch the parade. That's always fun, which, hint, hint, stick for next week. You may have something good. I have to tell you all this story before we move on. Because Ryan said that his wife, who we think is real, likes to bake. I am a cook. I can cook pretty well. My favorite thing to make is breakfast. When Rachel and I first got together, I tried to make her a cake, a funfetti from a box cake. So nothing hard. It takes like an egg and some oil.
I think that's usually when like elementary school kids start baking. That's usually what they start with.
Somehow I burnt the middle of the cake. Not the edges. Literally in the middle, there was a big burn spot.
I can just picture Gordon Ramsay. You set the plate in front of Gordon Ramsay and he just starts cursing up a storm because he's like, how did you burn the middle of the cake?
To this day, I still don't understand how to. I showed her. She was like, I don't know. So we just tried to layer a ton of icing on top of it, and you could just totally taste it. So this cake, we literally ate around the outside of it and then left the entire middle portion just there because it was all burnt and nasty.
Were you like cooking it from the middle out with like a infrared
I think what I did was I had the rack in the wrong spot in the oven, and it was too close to the top burner.
Oh, so you broiled it.
Basically, I broiled the cake.
The famous broil funfetti.
Love a broiled cake. I was going to say it's either that or you like cooked it on the stove and just did not understand.
On the stove is fantastic.
I'm not a baker. My wife can bake very well. Ryan said my wife makes pies and cakes and bread and stuff all the time. It's very good. But I'll just stick to cooking food.
I leave all the baking up to other people on Thanksgiving. Not my specialty. But thinking about it, I think the best part of Thanksgiving for me. So my favorite part of Christmas every year is like
we go to my Thanksgiving. Give the turkeys a chance.
No,
he's getting there. He's getting there.
I'm taking the long scenic route. My favorite part about Christmas is after all the gifts have been opened on Christmas Day. We've had our breakfast at my grandmother's, and everybody's just sitting. And you're just enjoying Christmas, knowing you're off work, you're relaxing. It's great. similar on Thanksgiving. My favorite time is that like 10 p.m. leftover turkey sandwich.
10 p.m.?
Yeah.
No, he's on to something here. It's delicious.
Okay, well, listen, the sandwich is great, but if you are awake at 10 p.m., like, is this like after your second nap of the day?
Yeah, no, so we always eat early in the day.
Oh, yeah, we eat at like 4.
Middle of the afternoon. It's like the only time of year where you're like, dinner's at 3 p.m. But you eat, you nap, you watch football, you nap. You watch more football, you nap, you watch the Bar Rescue Marathon on like Paramount, you nap, and then you make your 10 p.m. turkey sandwich while you stand alone in the kitchen with all the lights off.
So my mom's family, they are Eastern Kentucky, and a lot of the best things that they make at Thanksgiving are really the non-traditional things. And so my favorite part of Thanksgiving is a similar time, probably more like 6 or 7 rather than 10. But it's that time you're starting to get hungry again. You're already like you've had the big meal, but you're like, and there's not like another meal of the day. You just keep eating.
Yeah.
And so
it's a continuous meal.
Exactly. And so my favorite is actually
graze.
Exactly. Some country ham and homemade biscuits is my go-to.
Gosh.
I will eat as many of those as are on the table.
Come to me.
Now, listen, I know we've got some listeners all over the country. So if country ham's not a thing that you partake of in your area, I suggest you either come down here to the South or you find it somewhere. I'm sure there's a Cracker Barrel somewhere. It's not the best country ham, but it'll do. Like, just go and eat it on a biscuit. It'll change your life.
Maybe in a non-COVID time, we can have our very first live show will be a Thanksgiving potluck just for Josh's edification there.
Yes.
Okay, I thought of 2 more things I had to bring up about Thanksgiving.
Oh gosh.
For some reason, when I think of Thanksgiving, I always think of James Bond because I feel like there's always a James. I feel like there's always a James Bond marathon on around. It's like I think USA used to run the Thanksgiving Bondathon.
Yeah.
That sounds like something that existed.
And then the other, I thought of a story. When I was 7, my mom's family's from Eastern Kentucky too. They got a little pig and had me name it. I called it Babe.
Creative.
When I was 8, on Thanksgiving, I had to shoot Babe.
Oh, God.
Oh, my gosh. That was way darker than I even expected.
I'm sorry. It wasn't on Thanksgiving. It was the day after. But literally, they called me.
Why?
My grandfather called me up to the barn. We were in Eastern Kentucky, and this is what they did. My grandfather called me up to the barn. He just shoves a gun into my hands, looks at me, and goes, okay, you got to shoot in the head. And your uncle's going to slit his throat before it squeals.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh. This is so dark.
Through my tears, I shot the pig.
Oh, my gosh.
My uncle looks at me, locks eyes with me, and cuts the pig's throat. And I'm just just blubbering. I go, I leave, I come back, and it like later on it dawned on me, I was like, Papa, why did you have to do it before it squeals? There's science behind this. If it squeals, the adrenaline pumps and it causes the meat to harden.
Why did you tell us this story?
I mean, it reminded me of Thanksgiving. It was one Thanksgiving in my life.
I mean, clearly memorable.
Gosh.
We had bacon a week later, and it was good.
Oh, my gosh.
Do you know that country ham you loved? It came from Babe.
Oh, well, yeah, but I didn't shoot it.
I didn't know I was going to have to either. I literally
The
woke
day
up
after Thanksgiving either. I thought it would be a holiday treat.
I literally woke up that morning and there I go, okay, go to the barn.
All right. Well, if you're listening to this, Josh has just edited out a 10-minute story that Joe told us about him shooting a baby pig and having to cut its throat before it squeals.
I did not cut
All
the
right.
throat.
Honestly, I think we just need to move on. I think it's time to get into the debate because we are now 20 minutes in and we have not started to talk about the debate yet. And we have to each pick 5 things. So
First off, I want to give Josh some credit. Josh, we've made a big board like we've done for all the debates, but Josh went above and beyond. He's given us 5 categories and there's subcategories.
I was gonna say, Joe, we need to hear some of the winners on here. We will also post this.
I'm gonna just call out some of my favorites. Under salads, he has rabbit food, fruit for health, basically dessert, out of a tub. Is this a picnic? Under breads, he has just bread.
There's really no other classification for bread,
I mean, you could have gone sweetbreads. You could have gone. Clearly, you've not watched enough Great British Baking Show.
True.
For sides, he has potatoes, traditional vegetables, mostly cheese, and there's one choice in there, casseroles, stuffing, and the first choice under stuffing is stuffing, and sauces. In dessert, he has pies, crisp and cobblers, cake, just dessert bread, which apparently could not make it under the bread category. Couldn't even give it a little love.
It's mostly sugar. That's why.
He has one called cookies, and then there's one called Puddin. Puddin apostrophe.
It's the only way to pronounce it.
Puddin.
It's true, especially at Thanksgiving.
That word makes me feel dirty.
Puddin? I went to summer camp with a kid named Puddin.
Yeah, I bet you did. I think it's time to start the draft. We're going to go back to the snake draft that we've done in the past, where for one pick, and the last person gets to pick twice, and then it goes back 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, yada, yada, yada. So the order we did, Josh, Ryan, and then myself. So Josh will make a pick, Ryan will make a pick, and then I'll make 2 picks. Now, before we begin recording today, Josh was going on and on about how there was one thing he absolutely wanted to draft. So I'm very interested to see what that is. So Josh, with the first overall pick, what are you going with?
So I think a lot of people would probably lean towards going with a meat, but to me, it's like a fantasy draft. You don't draft a quarterback early in fantasy football. You wait till later because you need one main
Gotta
person.
get that running back.
Need those supporting players. And so with my running back pick, and if you're following along at home, I'm going to the sides category to start here. I'm going to go down to mostly cheese, and I'm going to pick macaroni and cheese with the first pick in the Thanksgiving plate draft.
Listen, I'm not going to knock the pick. I think it's a good staple to have. I think it's a reach at a number 1 pick.
Yeah, I don't think we even have macaroni and cheese at my Thanksgiving meal, to be honest. I cannot remember it being there.
I was going to say, I think I've gone Thanksgivings without mac and cheese. So
yeah, you were really excited for that pick, and it was extremely underwhelming.
No, it is a great pick. You all don't even know.
apparently we need to have Josh's mac and cheese. All right. With the second overall pick, I am taking sweet potato casserole, but it needs to be made clear. If you put marshmallows on top of your sweet potato casserole, you are a heathen and you should be scolded.
What if they do that, like the little torch and like burn the top?
That is the incorrect way to eat sweet potato casserole. It is brown sugar and pecans that make a crust on top. It is far better and far superior.
But what if you do like amalgamation of both?
Absolutely not. Marshmallows are for children.
Ryan.
Both of those picks are actually really good for me because both of those are things I probably would not have picked. So shame on both of you for picking terrible choices. My first overall pick, and I'm waffling back and forth on two things, but I think I'm going to go with stuffing.
Stuffing right off the bat.
Stuffing right off the bat. It's one of my favorite things. And my second pick was going to be a surprise, but I'm going with brown gravy.
Oh, wow.
Because you can drizzle that all over pretty much the entire plate.
So even if you pick bad things,
you can heighten the flavor. Because think about what you put brown gravy on: mashed potatoes, stuffing, turkey.
All right, the reasoning is pretty good. I have to give it to you.
It's a surprise pick, but it can elevate any other thing I choose.
Well, it is now my pick again. I'm an avid believer in both of these picks. These were my planned first two picks, so I'm feeling good. And I'm going dinner rolls with my second pick.
Dinner rolls at number 2? Why?
Dinner rolls are important because you want to be able to eat dinner rolls with everything else on the rest of your plate. If you don't have a dinner roll, it is not a complete Thanksgiving.
But with some good bread options still on the table.
That is the best bread. That is currently the best bread option.
Do you like a yeast roll Or like,
I like a yeast roll.
yeah, see, so do I. I like it to rise.
Yes.
Those are good. My grandmother makes some incredible sourdough rolls.
See, I've never had a sourdough roll.
It's good stuff. It's good
Sourdough
stuff.
is my personal favorite bread, so I would probably love a sourdough roll, but I'm going dinner roll.
Okay, well, I think that's a terrible pick, but I will jump in here. I've got 2 picks in a row. So I think I'm going to fill out my stable of sides here. I'm going to have a solid basis for my plate because I'm going to pick a meat later and it may be a bread. We'll see. So what I'm going to do is I've got macaroni and cheese. So I'm going to pick my other cheesy, terrible side, and that is hash brown casserole. Now, look, I know mashed potatoes is still on the board. You might say, why didn't you pick that as your potato? No, hash brown casserole is the best. My grandmother makes incredible hash brown casserole. My girlfriend makes incredible hash brown casserole. Her mother makes incredible hash brown casserole. I just love hash brown casserole. For my third side, I think I'm going to just, you got to have something a little healthy with a little bit of color maybe just so you don't look like a complete monster while you're eating.
Disagree.
I am going to go with broccoli casserole.
So you chose 2 things that were yellow and then added something that's yellow on top of it with speckles of green underneath it.
You see, it's also green.
Josh, I'm going to be honest. I thought you were going to pick this. You're going to have a rough night.
No, listen, I have had many years. I am a veteran of Thanksgiving. I'm a veteran of eating lots of cheese at one time.
You're going to be a veteran of the toilet.
No, listen, I can handle this. I know my body. I've got this under control.
So we're back to my pick. I do have to say, hash brown casserole was definitely on my big board. So I think that's an excellent pick. No matter where you take it, it's a great staple. It's a really good to kind of fill in between. So I was a little jealous of that pick. I feel like I have a potato and I've got my dinner roll. I actually think I'm going to be the first one to take a meat. So because of the dinner roll pick in my previous round, I am going to go country ham because there's nothing better than that combo right there. So not maybe necessarily what I would normally take first in the meat category, but because of the combo, the plate I'm building, I think it's my best choice.
I'm a fan of a non-traditional meat at Thanksgiving, so I applaud your pick.
Yes, let's go over these non-traditional meats that Josh has on the board. For non-traditional meats, Josh has baked chicken, pork loin,
not that non-traditional,
roast beef, prime rib, and my favorite is filet mignon.
Look, I have been tooting this horn for a long time. I'll get into this now. I was going to save this for my meat pick, but you know what? Here we are. I'm getting attacked for my choices of non-traditional meats on the big board. Let's have this conversation. Turkey's bad. I said it. There, I said it.
Okay, wait. I do want to. I mostly agree with you. However, I have to say, in the past few years, I have gone to a Friendsgiving. I think this is our 7th year running, so it's a long-standing tradition. One of my friends has perfected his baked turkey.
Perfected.
And I have to say, up until this man started cooking our turkey, I agree with you. Honestly, I would usually just avoid turkey. I went with straight ham and biscuits. However, if done correctly, turkey can be the star of the show. So I have to say, I think it's very hard to do. I think it's a lot of commitment and you have to know what you're doing, but turkey can be good. But on the most part, I agree with you.
It can, but I just think it's misguided that we hold on to this last vestige of what's traditional to Thanksgiving because we've just decided this is what we do. We baked it for a long time and then we finally started smoking it and frying it, which is my personal favorite way to prepare a turkey. Incredibly dangerous, but very rewarding. However, I'm saying we just need to modernize. We need to get with the program and start actually celebrating something that we love. It's about giving thanks. Why don't we give thanks for some filet mignon, for some prime rib, for some roast beef, ham? We don't need to give thanks for turkey.
Josh, I'm disappointed. I've cooked turkey for you multiple times, and I do that butter herb turkey, and it is good.
It is delicious. There are better meats.
And let's talk about...
You have made better meat for me.
I think the main thing that Josh is saying is that we have created an uphill battle for ourselves because objectively, turkey is difficult to make taste great. You have to do all of these things. Whereas what he's saying is like a good filet mignon, salt and pepper and cooked right is phenomenal. And so I do understand what he's saying.
Let me tell you about the turkey I made last year. Now, Josh wouldn't know. Josh wouldn't know about the turkey I made last year because, well, you know what? I'll let Josh tell that story, but it ends in him lying to me. But the turkey I made last year was a bourbon-infused smoked pepper turkey.
That sounds great.
It brined in a salty bourbon mixture for 36 hours, was injected with a bourbon concoction in the meat, glazed in a bourbon jelly, and then smoked for 7 hours.
Man,
I'm bummed I missed out on that. I must have had something important going on.
I guess so. It's important enough you couldn't tell us about it.
Anyways,
So
are we going to reveal that
no,
or just let it hang?
that's Josh's story to tell.
we'll get there sometime, I'm sure.
Okay.
All right, with my next two picks, I'm kind of in between here. I thought mashed potatoes because I love mashed potatoes, but to me, mashed potatoes and stuffing are very, very similar in consistency and nature.
What kind of stuffing have you been eating?
I think you're making stuffing
I'm
wrong.
just saying, like, it's like they're both kind of heavy meals. So I want to go with something light here. I'm going to go with...
Okay, hold on. You just said heavy. I've got a story to tell, actually. Look, this is probably going to be a long episode. Just deal with it. It's Thanksgiving. I once went to a rainforest cafe with a girl I was dating at the time. Don't ask why we ended up at the rainforest cafe. Just seemed like the right thing to do. So the waiter, the person I was with, orders mashed potatoes. Doesn't eat them all. Waiter comes back and he says, "Hey, is everything okay? Were the mashed potatoes fine?" She said, "Oh yeah, they were fine, but they're kind of heavy." He goes, "Yeah, I know. They sit on your stomach like semen." And then he picked up the plate and walked away.
What?
At the Rainforest Cafe.
I have so many questions. Like, what does that even mean?
I had a lot of questions. I got none of them answered.
I don't think I want to go into it.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy.
You know, look, to each their own, like, chase your bliss.
No.
But
there's
like,
not a situation where this statement is okay.
But
there's no situation.
You're a waiter at the Rainforest Cafe. This is a family establishment. Now, granted, it was two adults eating at our table, but you know, there's children around.
Wow.
I'm just saying.
Wow.
It was a little
I
weird.
don't care who you are.
Wow.
No, there's no excuse. Good Lord. All right.
Okay.
I would just suggest if you want to throw a wrench in your family's Thanksgiving, just throw that out the table.
Yeah, please use that phrase.
I played Cards Against Humanities one year at Thanksgiving with my father and had to explain what some of the stuff in that one was. And one of the things I had to explain was what pixelated bukkake was. And that is hard to explain to your old man. So before I move forward with my pick, we found a Daily Mail article that broke down each state on what they want. I'm going to be honest, you guys, the overwhelming favorite is mashed potatoes. It is pretty much spread out across the country.
I think it's because there's a lot of different ways to do it. And I feel like mashed potatoes are like, it's just kind of goes with everything.
It's easy.
Like even if you're going non-traditional, everybody still has mashed potatoes.
Okay. Weren't we doing a draft or something?
Yes, the entire East Coast likes mac and cheese. I do want to point out that Maine's favorite Thanksgiving side dish is a side salad.
That sounds very Maine. Yeah. I love that state. Been there several times. Sounds right.
All right. My next pick is going to be green beans.
Good choice.
Flavorful. You cook with, especially if you cook a ham, you put that ham hock bone in there and get that ham flavor on the green beans. It's a light pick, but still gives you that green vegetable on your plate, so it's a little bit of color. So my third overall pick is green beans. I've got two remaining. This is getting tough, boys. I really want to go with a salad, but I don't know. I feel like that's the last thing I'm worried about on Thanksgiving Day.
Pick that cottage cheese, Joe. You know you want it.
I think I'm actually going to go with the fried turkey.
Of the turkey picks, that's a good one.
Because what that gives me now is I have a plate with turkey, stuffing, and green beans. I've got brown gravy that I can cover the stuffing and the turkey with to make a wonderful medley of flavors, of fall flavors. So I think I'm going to go with the fried turkey as my fourth pick.
All right. Excellent pick. And that leads me directly into my ideal pick at this point on the board, and that is stuffing balls. It's not a great phrase to say on a podcast.
Well, we've said a lot of questionable phrases on this episode.
That's true. And throughout the recorded history of this show. But I just don't think you can go wrong with some stuffing balls. My mother-in-law makes them in a muffin tin, and they are fantastic.
Have you ever wondered how those came about? Like if someone just made stuffing and be like, this will just be better if it's in a clump.
You know what? I think people figured out that the best part was the part that gets a little crusty on the outside. And so they thought surface area. So it was a smart move.
I feel like you can make or break macaroni and cheese by if it has that crispy texture on top.
Mine does, and that's why I got the number one pick. All right. I've got 2 picks in a row here. I was thinking about going with the bread because there's some good bread options. But then I noticed something that we've all missed that is, granted, yellow, but also a little bit bread-like. And so I'm taking corn pudding with my 4th pick.
Good choice.
That's an excellent pick.
Underrated Thanksgiving side. It is sweet. It's got a great texture. It's got a little bit of crispiness on top if you do it just right.
For y'all at home, we need to make sure that we highlight the fact that Josh is dominating the casseroles category.
3 out of 4.
That's my world. Look, I scouted the casseroles heavily in this draft. I was looking at the metrics. It just seemed to make the most sense.
If he's drafting a basketball team, he's got 4 small forwards.
Which was pretty much his basketball team when we drafted the basketball team.
That's true. Good point.
So now I'm going to go with my meat. And we've got some good options here.
That's what she
a couple
said.
turkey options left, some ham. But what I'm going to go with is some delicious, succulent baked turkey. I'm joking. I'm not doing baked turkey.
I was going to say, you went traditional after all that?
Look, I do like a bit of tradition, but I don't want turkey because it's bad. I'm going, since country ham is gone, with honey ham.
Oh,
a
yes.
nice glazed,
A respectable choice.
honey ham. You can't beat it.
All right, so we're to my final pick. I am really, really torn. I cannot decide because I have a sweet potato casserole, so I have a little bit of potato. I'm trying to decide if I need to just have also some mashed potatoes on the plate, or if I go with my gut and balance out the plate. I think I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going green bean casserole.
Bold move.
I think it just helps to balance out the plate that I have made. Even though I don't have the mashed potatoes, I do have the stuffing. I still have sweet potato casserole. I feel good about my picks.
Now, when we go to the judges on this one, green bean casserole is one of those things that's pretty divisive. Some people love it. Some people hate it. I personally love it. A little the French fried onions on top.
I was going to say, if done correctly, green bean casserole is probably the best of the casseroles we have listed.
Well, I don't know. I picked the other 3, so I think they're a little bit better. But
And for those of you keeping score at home, all of the casseroles are off the board.
as it should be.
Casseroles are the most important.
As it should be.
This last pick, this was a tough one to me. Because, like, I'm torn. I kind of want to.
You're in a tough
I want to
spot.
kind of add another vegetable. Like, maybe I can talk about anything now because you all can't pick anymore. Or maybe even a salad, like a nice cottage. Like you mentioned cottage cheese. I was actually thinking coleslaw. But I think it's important to me.
Is this a picnic, as Josh has indicated?
I think it's important to me to have some kind of a bread because I need to be able to mop up that gravy. Now, my go-to would be dinner rolls. I love a good dinner roll, but that's already off the board.
Ryan snatched that up.
It is, and I don't think cornbread's good to mop up gravy with.
No.
I listen, I don't know. I don't want to pick your team for you, but I think there's a clear choice among the 3 that we have left.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with the biscuit.
I think you made the right choice.
I think that's a pretty good closing
And
pick.
I'm gonna even take you one further. I think I'm gonna do the cheddar biscuits that Red Lobster makes.
Cheddar Bay biscuits at Thanksgiving, just the way it was meant to be.
You have filet mignon and prime rib on your board.
I didn't pick them. I got a very traditional plate.
You actually do. All right. So I'm going to quickly run down each of our plates so that the listeners can keep track, because we are now 15 picks in. All right. Josh's plate: macaroni and cheese, hash brown casserole, broccoli casserole, corn pudding, honey ham.
Cholesterol.
Ryan's plate: sweet potato casserole, dinner rolls, country ham, stuffing balls, and green bean casserole. Joe's plate: stuffing, brown gravy, green beans, fried turkey, Cheddar Bay biscuits. But the Cheddar Bay is a editorialization. That is the pick was biscuits. All right. We need to go to the moderator's office, and we also need to come back and pick probably the most important pick.
Hey folks, we're going to make it quick this week because obviously we decided we wanted to talk about food for a long time and questionable mashed potatoes. So look, we've been talking about Podchaser and Good Pods. We want you to go sign up for both. Go download Good Pods. On there, you're able to connect with some of your favorite podcast creators and people who are podcast fans, and you're able to check out what they've been listening to, make lists of your own, and tell people what they should be listening to. And then over on Podchaser, it's the IMDb for podcasts. You can go on there. You can see all the episodes that we've done, what other shows we've been on, who our guest hosts were, what shows they're on. You can go track all that stuff down there. So head over to Podchaser, head over to Good Pods, get your sites up, and then go to Thanksgiving and badger your family and get them to sign up so that they can see the cool podcasts you've been listening to, like ours, and help us out. It'll help us out a ton. They're great websites. We've enjoyed joining those platforms and getting to use them, and we think you will too. So go and do that this Thanksgiving break.
And just real quick, I just want to actually just ask that you guys share the show with your friends. Word of mouth is the only way we do any kind of advertisement. We don't pay.
And your
we don't
family.
promote.
Your crazy uncle would love us.
Yeah. So just share your show with your friends. Encourage them to subscribe and give us a rating of 5 stars. That really helps us rise up the charts and grow our numbers, which also helps us get new equipment, which we could use to better the show. So just go ahead, share with a friend, tell them, get decisive about what they want for their plate. But let's get back to this debate. Okay, so we've done our 5 items. Some are great, some are awful. The last thing we're going to do is we're going to pick a dessert. Each of us get one dessert, and then
This is so hard.
we decided, in order to best judge this, we are going to do a blind judgment from our moms. We are going to text them each plate with no names and have them pick the best plate. If we tie, we don't know what we're going to do, but we'll figure it out. So right now, let's go ahead and do our pick for dessert. Josh Ballard, you are first.
All right. So we have more desserts on this list than anything, which I think is fitting for Thanksgiving because often my grandmother will make like 8 of them, which is great. You've got traditional ones. You've got non-traditional ones. You got your pies, your cobblers, all that stuff. But there's one I have zeroed in on, and that is an apple dessert. And you may say, oh, he's going to pick apple pie. But no, I'm going apple crisp. I love a dessert that is sweet and crunchy and a little bit savory, and with that crisp on top of it, maybe even just like a little bit of salt, like a salty note or something. Like apple crisp, the way to go.
All right. For my pick, it's. I thought it was going to be difficult, but I am following my heart. This dessert is very close to my heart because it's something that my wife and I have been making since literally high school. Like we've been baking this together. It is her grandmother's recipe, and that is the classic American apple pie. Except she has a special crumble topping instead of the pastry topping, and it is wonderful. We will make it for you.
I thought you were gonna say cheddar cheese, which is also great on an apple pie.
No, we will make it for you sometime. We make it all the time.
Well, I'm just looking over the list here, and I want to point out who in their right mind would choose fruitcake.
Look, if you get a good fruitcake, it's not that bad. Now, it's not in my top 10, but I'm just saying.
I'm looking at my list here, and dessert's always a big deal to me. I usually grab a gambit of stuff. But I think, honestly, I got to go with the original, and I'm just going to go with pumpkin pie. It screams Thanksgiving. It screams fall. makes you all warm and fuzzy. And if you're a heathen and like whipped cream or Cool Whip, you could put that on there as well.
Can I say something unpopular before we get out of here?
Yeah, go for it.
Pumpkin flavored things and pumpkin pie can kick rocks. It sucks. I hate it.
Same. I actually like pumpkin flavored things, but pumpkin pie is not good. Pecan pie was my second pick that was on here. Also, any of the cobblers, the crisps and cobblers section is really just where my heart is right now. All right. So what I have done, I have taken a picture of our plates here, and I was going to just send that picture to my mom.
All right. I'm texting my mother as well.
I am sending it to my mother as well. She's been told to stand by.
While we're waiting for the democratic process to run its course, I have something I need to ask you. What is the one Thanksgiving item that everyone loves that you just hate?
Oh,
I can't get behind the cranberry. Like, most of the time it's just literally like out of a jar.
Who actually
or like,
does that? Because I don't remember ever being an option in my Thanksgiving meals.
well, okay. There's the type that comes in a can, which is bad. But if you get some real like cranberry relish made by somebody who knows what they're doing and put that on some turkey,
just add the word relish and I'm on board.
Now, pumpkin pie is probably my least favorite, but I also don't like pecan pie.
I love pecan pie, but derby pie is the best pie. It's derby pie, pecan pie with chocolate.
I don't know.
Mine is anything sweet potato. I'm just not a fan.
Nothing.
Man, that is surprising. A sweet potato casserole, when it's done correctly, it is literally it's my number one choice.
Oh, I got a text back.
I got votes back too.
Ryan,
My mom needed a clarification, so I might need like 20 more seconds. No, she just said which is my favorite. I said, which one do you think is the best plate? So.
All right, so let me tell you the story. One time we went to Thanksgiving at my mom's family in Ohio, and my dad was in charge of making desserts. He had to make these things called pecan tassies, and it's like these little cookies. He agreed to do it. It took him 6.5 hours to make these things.
Whoa.
I think that's honestly what he was so angry.
I'm getting the 3 dots. I've got mine.
all right. I think that's all of them.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and keep in the order. Josh, your first pick. You sent the text message to your mother. What did your mother choose?
So the way that we did this was we sent a text that plate 1 was myself, plate 2 was Ryan, and plate 3 was Joe. And my mother came through for her son and picked plate 1, baby. That's me. That is me.
All right. My mother, Rhonda, bless her soul, came through for her son and picked plate 2.
Let's go, Rhonda. Make this
Let's go,
awkward.
Rhonda.
My mother, Dewana, love her to death, picked plate 3.
No.
This is okay. There is no way that this happened.
You will never believe this, but we did not. This is not planned. I literally just told my mom to have her phone handy.
This is
Oh my gosh. Okay,
it's all in the family. So what do we do?
Okay, so there's a couple options we talked about. We can text our wives and ask. My wife offered to come in and look at the plates in a blind study.
Yeah, what if Rachel wants to come in and let us know her pick? I wouldn't mind that.
Okay, let me go get her. Hold on.
Okay, well, good news is that since we all tied, we fortunately had a backup plan, and Joe has called in the bullpen and brought in Rachel. So, Rachel, Joe has put our 3 plates with our picks on a document that does not say who they belong to. And we want you to give your honest opinion about which one is the winner. You need to break this tie.
All right, let's see. These plates all of these look really, really good. So kudos to all 3 of you all. But as always, there always has to be one winner. I'm sorry. I'm not going to lie. Plate 3 is automatically out because I don't like gravy.
Oh,
All right, plate 3 out.
Okay. I do like the
back.
Cheddar Bay biscuits, though.
It's all about the whole plate composition.
Man, this is so hard.
I know.
This is genuinely difficult.
Think about what we go through each week. We're so brave.
I'm going to pick plate 2.
Oh,
come on.
Ryan.
I would also like to say I texted my wife. She also picked plate 2.
Yeah.
So that is a win for Ryan.
Yeah.
That is
like the stuffing balls really did it in the apple pie.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rachel. We appreciate your help.
You're welcome.
How does it How does it feel to get stabbed in the back by your own wife, Joe?
Well, I mean, it's
Yeah. Threw you out
used
right
to
away.
it. No, she threw me out, but then she backtracked and said she had to go back because the
That's true.
biscuits.
That's true.
So-
I wasn't even under consideration, so whatever. It is what it is,
Well, Josh, your plate is going to be yellow.
and delicious.
I do need to read you the response I got from my wife. She actually ranked them. So 1 was blue, clearly. 2 was yellow, Josh. 3 through 99, everything else, 100 green.
Oh, Joe, your plate.
So Leah did not agree with Joe's plate.
Well, we don't even know if Leah existed, so Ryan could be making that
That's
all up
true.
because he doesn't allow
Ryan
our
could be texting
podcast.
himself.
That was actually just me texting myself.
We don't have texted
All right.
anybody.
Well, I think that's going to do it for us. Thank you for joining into week 1 of our 2-week Thanksgiving special. We want to thank everybody for listening. We appreciate the support. Continue to share the show. We also want to thank Isle of 8 for the use of our theme song, Jean Jacket. Please check them out anywhere you find great music. You can also check out our great friend Elizabeth Varnado. She has an album out. It's called Elizr, Elizr.
Make sure you are following us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can find us at TMIWpod. Feel free to use the hashtag TMIWpod to send us your debate topics, your favorite Thanksgiving meals, or if you had to kill a hog yourself, tell us a story. When you get done with this episode, please head on over and rate us 5 stars. Give it subscribe. Give us that review. It really helps us to kind of grow our numbers and improve every day. And that's all we can ask. Just tell a friend.
And if you head over to tmiwpod.com, you can find ways to connect with us. You can send us messages. You can learn more about the show. And you can also read my 120-page dissertation on why turkey is a terrible Thanksgiving tradition. All of that's up there. So visit our website, buy some merch, get in the holiday spirit, get some gifts for people. Go crazy. We'd love to see you there.
Make sure you guys check out Podchaser and Good Pods this week. Download their apps and follow us. As always, there is one winner, but we're all losers. Later, losers.
See ya.